Here we are. Here we are. Dynasty, rookie only mock draft. And we're going to go through the first round in both a super flex and a 1QB. We're going to do it on screen here. I'll go to this table view. We're going to go 1QB, super flex, kind of one at a time down each of these boards, kind of in unison to kind of show maybe the stark difference between a super flex rookie only draft and a 1QB. And I think that'll help highlight maybe how valuable some of the players are when we're arguing them over a quarterback. The Fantasy Football Show Dynasty Edition, Graveyard Edition begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Dynasty Fantasy Football Show.
What is up, good people? We're here to do it live like we do most graveyard nights. Hit that thumb up button on the way in the door. Subscribe if you're new. And let's get right to it. Let me see if I can pull up the live stream over here just to make sure I have in view everything that's going on. There we go. All right, we're going to go to table view and we're going to start the mock draft immediately. I would love to have your participation on this one. Toss out who you believe to be the pick at this particular moment in time. We're going to start with the 1QB and then go to the super flex. We're going to go 1QB, super flex, 1QB, super flex, all the way down, one pick at a time as we march on down to show the very big difference between these two different mock drafts. But to also, like I said, highlight how much Marvin Harrison Jr. might be valued in Superflex versus his 1QB value. So let's take it one step at a time. Please understand that this is my particular ranking, my particular projection. Maybe yours is different. So if you're angry that I don't have Coleman higher than some of you, that's okay. This is how I view it. I'm also going to take into consideration all of your comments. I'm also gonna, sometimes I'll lean on you to push me over the edge because I'm doing this off the cuff. I'm not actually preparing this. I have nothing written out. I'm gonna literally do this live. So you're gonna watch me go through the process, struggle through the process, and maybe waver, maybe change my mind. Maybe I erase somebody and put them 2 or 3 spots below where I just put them. Let's get right into it. In rookie 1QB, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. There is no debate at all. Landing spot could potentially in redraft influence me to maybe go Neighbors or a Dunze or Braylon Allen if, let's say, landing spots were awful for the wide receivers and Braylon Allen goes to the Dallas Cowboys. Plus, when Braylon Allen goes to the Combine, he's going to shock people. You heard it from me first. Nobody has Braylon Allen as their number 1 QB or running back. Nobody has Braylon Allen as high as I have him. I have him on the Moon Man list.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
Let's try that again. I have him on the Moon Man list.
The Moon Man dropping loads in outer space.
There he is, Braylon Allen. Your boy's got Braylon Allen higher than anybody. And when he goes to the Combine, I fully expect him to just blow people away. Gonna run fast, gonna hit the bench press. He's gonna absolutely crush and move up everybody's board. Good job, Matt O. Excellent job on the fasting, bro. Okay, so rookie Superflex. This is where it's gonna get kind of crazy. Because at the end of the day, it matters what you have. Like, I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. if I've got Patty Mahomes and another decent quarterback that I actually think could linger for a couple years. I just have faith in myself to develop the quarterback position, go get the Rattler, go get somebody that I believe might do very well. Hendon Hooker. You start finding all these different players that you could accumulate that might end up being a diamond in the rough. And I can't pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. if I'm already really good at quarterback. And I'm talking like you have a Mahomes and maybe you have a Goff. And you're like, I don't love Goff long term, but you're sitting okay. You know, Mahomes and a Russell Wilson. I'm fine with that. I really am when it means Marvin Harrison Jr. gets to come to my squad. If I'm in desperate need of a quarterback on any level, the number 1 is going to be JD5. And there's no hesitation with me. I'm not going to go with the flow and take Caleb. I'm also not going to trade down and get cute, because we had a caller last night talk about this. Hey, shouldn't you trade down to get Caleb? Or an NFL team, shouldn't the NFL team, let's say if the Bears didn't want JD5, or I'm sorry, didn't want Caleb, should they trade down, or should a team trade down? Should a fantasy football owner trade down? No, because after the combine and pro days, and he's still going to interview, he's still going to talk to people, JD5 is going to skyrocket up boards. I guarantee you the fantasy football community as a whole is going to average more JD5 than Caleb. And so if you start playing with fire now, thinking you're gonna make moves and moves down to accumulate other move up somewhere to draft JD5 second or third, you might be mistaken. He might climb up draft boards big time. So you'd be making a huge mistake to just worry about one spot move down. Number 2, this is tough because I'll be honest with you. Like I like May more than I like Caleb. And I think I like Harrison Jr. in general, again, not knowing your quarterback situations individually, more than I like May, more than I like Caleb, more than I like Penix Jr., hoping he goes to the right spot. When he lands in a good spot, that's different. If Bo Nix lands in Atlanta, then we know Bo Nix is going to be a monster. So for me, and I'm going to go back this way, Harrison Jr. is my number 2. And this is in Superflex. And I know not everybody will agree with that, but that's the way I look at it. But again, with the caveat that every situation is going to be completely different. You can't have all of, you got to know everybody's situation individually. You can't have a blanket statement over whether Harrison Jr. should be 2 or 3 or 4 or even 1. Because if you've got a different scenario going on than I do, then you're going to view Marvin Harrison Jr. different. So in a general sense, I have it like this. I think this guy's the next Lamar Jackson. I think this guy's the next Justin Jefferson. And so we have 2 players that, in my opinion, you don't consider even position if you can. If you can get away with it, you have Mahomes and Russell Wilson. You have Mahomes and even a Baker or something. I'm not passing on this guy. If I don't have Mahomes and I'm looking at like Russell Wilson and Goff as my 2 QBs, I am worried enough to say, you know what, I love Marvin Harrison, but this guy's the next Lamar Jackson. I'm fine with it. It's really, in a sense, in Dynasty, almost not a big tier break, not an actual tier break, like a mini dotted line tier break. I do think these 2 guys have a whole bunch more value than everybody else. Out the gate, initially, does it land that way after the NFL draft? It might not, because situation is king. Anybody that tries to tell you that whatever they think now is going to be the same after draft day because they think the talent's going to rise up, it sometimes does. I think JD5's talent will rise up more so than Caleb's. If JD5 goes to New England without any other weapons around him but Ramondre, let's say, he's got Pop Douglas, and you've seen what AR5 can do. Not saying Pittman's bad at all, but he didn't have Jamar Chase. He didn't have JJ. He had an injured running back stable. Like, AR5 still played ball. JD5's still going to survive and carry his team no matter what. Caleb could fail if he goes to the Bears and they don't support him properly. Drake May could become Herbert, which, not trying to say Herbert's bad on any level, but Herbert is not delivering to expectation because his situation isn't perfect. Whereas AR5, doesn't matter. He's going to produce. He's going to absolutely blow up. So that's the difference between May and JD5. That's the difference between Caleb and JD5. Bo Nix goes to Atlanta. I'm going to have Bo Nix as my number 2 quarterback. I'll have Bo Nix over Caleb. I'll have Bo Nix over everybody. If Drake May goes to Washington to play with Kingsbury gets to coach this man. Adam Peters, the GM mastermind in Washington, gets to accumulate talent, and this tripod of a GM and coaching tree right here. Kingsbury, Adam Peters as GM, Dan Quinn, defense and offensive coach and player and coach of men. This tripod right here is going to turn Drake May into a really, really good quarterback. Drake May becomes my number 2. Now, if Bo Nix goes to Atlanta, Penix Jr. goes to Atlanta, they're going to have competition with May in my mind. But they're over Caleb. Caleb in Chicago is not ranked higher to me. Would I trade down in that scenario? Probably, but it depends. Again, I wouldn't risk anything if I thought that everybody else is going to start seeing it the same way. If Atlanta moved up to the number 3 overall pick, let's say, just in a crazy scenario, and it's not that crazy when you think about it, New England and the Cardinals, and I'm a Cardinal fan, I get to say this about my Cardinals. The Cardinals and the Patriots are the two teams that, like, if you're a fan of this team, or these two teams, you're worried. You are. Every draft, you're worried. What are you going to do? Are you going to screw up and trade out of this number 3 pick? We're already hearing rumors. Hopefully they're false. There's no quantifiable evidence at all to suggest it's true. But there are rumors that the New England Patriots are talking with the Vikings about a swap and then to get some other future value. And that would devastate New England fans. You got the chance to get May or JD5, and you're going to pass that up and trade down. And that's the kind of fear I have. Let's say the Falcons trade up to the 3 pick. The New England Patriots go down to 8. Okay? Maybe that works out, though, too, because you could say, what if they get Bo Nix or Penix Jr. and they're the real deal, and then they get another future first rounder or a couple of seconds or whatever the hell you could. It's probably be a first rounder and maybe even more to do that move. But if the New England Patriots trade down with the Atlanta Falcons and they draft Drake May or JD5, but Drake May to Atlanta or JD5 from that 3 pick, guess what? That's the number 2 quarterback. If JD5's in Washington at 2, and let's say Drake May goes to the Falcons at 3, Drake May is by far and away the second quarterback and third option in the Superflex. From a rookie 1 QB, I think it's safe to put Neighbors here for now, but I want people to understand very, very much that your boy that you're looking at right now, staring in the face, is telling you that Odunze could absolutely snag this spot. This will flip in a millisecond for me, depending on landing spot. Situation is king. Neighbors does not overrule Odunze, who has a contested catch rate that's higher than Harrison, higher than I think everybody but 5 players, if I'm correct, off memory, in the NCAA in 2023 in contested catch rate. This guy's a contested catch monster. He's also 6'3". Neighbors is 6 foot. He might measure in even a touch below that. This guy's 200 pounds. Neighbors. He might weigh in at 198. Odunze probably gonna weigh anywhere between 210 and 215. He's gonna be 6'2 to 6'3, even if he weighs it or he measures in smaller than 6'3, what he's listed at. He's 6'3, 210 to 215. He's a monster. He's a contested catch absolute magician. His route tree's better than Neighbors. Not that Neighbors necessarily doesn't have a good route tree or ability to have a good route tree. Sometimes players are not asked to do a whole lot. It's not their fault. Zeke Elliott was not asked to catch passes in what was his rookie year? Ziggy, what year was Zeke Elliott a rookie?
Ezekiel Elliott played his first season in 2016.
26. God, it actually feels like it was longer than that. Like 2008. When Zeke was coming into the NFL in 2016, everyone said this guy can't catch passes. He won't be a PPR machine. And back then in PPR or half PPR, not every running back caught passes. Right now, almost everybody does. And Zeke Elliott, biggest knock, he won't catch passes. I came out adamantly against that. I said, you cannot judge a player because they didn't use them properly. Kenneth Walker can't catch passes. Yes, he can. Even though they misused him, Pete Carroll misused him last year in terms of some of the pass catch work. I think hopefully that gets rectified in 2024 under Grubb. But I do think that you're probably going to see Neighbors be better and more capable of running more routes, but that doesn't change the fact that this guy was all over the field running every route. His route tree is extensive. Neighbors is more limited, but he was good at what he did. He stretched the field. He's a burner. But Odunze is a freaking total package. One better landing spot, and these guys swap. And Odunze, from a redraft perspective, this is the Dynasty channel. From a redraft perspective, Odunze could be the number 1 redraft wide receiver if he lands somewhere amazing. Let's call it the Cardinals or something. Let's say the Cardinals traded down, they did get him. The Cardinals, and let's say Marvin Harrison Jr., the Giants traded up. The Giants took Marvin Harrison Jr. And let's say a horrible landing spot for Neighbors. Then Odunze goes to the Cardinals for some reason. Odunze is the number 1 redraft wide receiver. In Dynasty, though, this cannot be changed by landing spot. Why? Because things they fluctuate in the NFL very quickly. And even if Harrison Jr. goes to a place like New England at number 3 overall, and they botch the quarterback situation, they bring in somebody we hate, something of that nature, he's still going to get a quarterback within a year or two, and it's going to get figured out, and they'll build around him. So from a dynasty perspective, that doesn't change. Harrison Jr. From a dynasty perspective, Neighbors and Odunze do absolutely swap. Over here on the 3 pick, I think you're gonna have Caleb. I'm just gonna write in. I'm gonna write in May. This is gonna piss people off. May and Caleb. And of course, landing spot's going to dictate that. It's going to piss off a lot of people that Caleb's not even my number 3. But there's so many question marks about this guy. And I don't like his OC at all. And I don't like his landing spot. And I fully think the Chicago Bears are drafting him. If he goes to Washington, he could vault all the way to the number 1 spot. And Fickle Freddy and Keyboard Clifford in my live stream chat and in the comments of videos is going to go, "Oh, I see you're flip-flopping on Caleb." I'm literally telling you that a lot of why I don't like Caleb is where he's going and who's coaching him. If he goes to Washington to play with Cliff Kingsbury, Kingsbury was his quarterback coach this very most recent season at USC. And the fact that the Bears didn't bring Kingsbury in but for an interview, a fact-finding mission, at which point they decided not to hire Kingsbury, who would have been the most perfect choice, not only just because he's an offensive savant. I don't care if he failed at coaching. He's asked to be a coordinator, and he's a great coordinator. He's coached 4 Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. He's coached Patrick Mahomes. He coached Kyler Murray and for 3 years in Arizona, and did amazing things at times, and the team did fall apart from a head coaching perspective. It's certainly something that that you could say, hey, that's a knock on him. He doesn't know how to do this. Similar to the way I talk about Kyle Shanahan. He's not a great head coach. He's an amazing offensive coordinator, piss poor decision maker from upper level, down decisions. This guy makes horrible decisions, takes his foot off the gas. His OCing is why he looks so amazing a lot of the time. It overshadows his bad coaching and bad coaching decisions. Same thing you could say with Kingsbury, but Kingsbury's not a head coach. He's an OC. Chicago punted on the opportunity of bringing in a guy that Caleb Williams loves. Caleb Williams and the Kingsburys are like this. Caleb Williams' family and Kingsbury's family, because Kingsbury was Caleb's QB coach last year at USC. They're like this. Caleb loves Kingsbury. Such a stupid move. If you're going to, some might say that's telegraphing they're not going to draft Caleb. I don't think so. I don't think so, because if they're going to keep Fields, they made a big mistake in not backing Fields publicly and making at the expense of Fields' confidence and feeling like he's the number 1 choice there. They're going to sacrifice that, crack the relationship, not publicly endorse Fields and say, I don't care about it boosting the draft value of the 1 pick overall. The 1 pick will be fine in acquiring whatever you want. And so this is being botched in Chicago from the beginning. And Shane Waldron's not the choice. That's why Caleb's here. All the Caleb fans and Caleb believers and truthers and lovers can say what they want about that pick. But Caleb right there, I don't even feel great about that pick right there, to be honest with you. Odunze, Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze. This is where it gets interesting. This is where I want to say, at this point, I want to say Braylon Allen's going to be right here in a 1 QB. I think Allen's going to rise up everybody's board. Of course, if he doesn't, I'll adjust and adapt. If he has a horrible combine, I'll adjust and adapt. I'm not one of those people that puts this all out here like an Excel sheet, Eric, and leaves it be all year long, all off season long. Landing spots come in. I already said this. I'm going to commit to it. You know how many people came to me during the season and said, Smitty, you had this guy on your Moon Man list. Now you're telling us to sell him. I don't like this. I'm unsubscribing. Good. Bye. See you later. Sorry, I adjust and adapt. I'm always going to adjust and adapt. You want me to hang on to something because I said it in the past? I'm going to adjust and adapt. And that means for these rookies too. I'm coming out here early, dropping bold content. And it could all change based on landing spot. The next person will be Bowers. I could easily swap these two in a millisecond. Easily. 100%. Bowers is easily the 4 or 5. Easily. On this side of the fence, after May, Caleb, JD5 is probably going to go Neighbors. Adunze, Bowers, just because these guys are so much more secure than the quarterbacks. As of this moment, we don't know where they are. Bo Nix goes to Atlanta. He's going to slot in right here. Okay, understand that situation is going to change everything. Ian says Braylon Allen, 4.7 yards a catch. Good. Ian, tell everybody. Tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell everybody, Ian. Make sure they feel like Braylon Allen is garbage. Just make sure you tell everybody in all of our leagues, please. Please. We need a lot of Ians on this one. Ian, you're doing your part, pal. Thank you for what you do.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
Bottom line is, without Ian, we won't get Braylon Allen as good a value as we want. Okay, so we got Jaden Daniels, May, Caleb, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Bowers. This is where it gets crazy. I think it's going to be Penix Jr., Bo Nix, we'll go Allen. This is super flex. Allen. McCarthy. JJM, as we sometimes call him on the channel, JJM. And then probably, this is 11, so this is 10, 11. And then probably, let's see here. Nix, Penix Jr., McCarthy. Rattler's in the mix, but probably not going to go. We're probably going to go with Corum or Coleman. So we'll put Coleman, Corum. Now, I like Corley, and I did an earlier ranking video. I like Corley, I like Leggett in some ways more than Coleman. In a lot of ways more than Coleman, but I'm not going to mock draft him there because these are guys who can get so much later. You can't set that. Oh, wait, let's go Thomas. Thomas, Coleman, then Corum. Thomas, Corum, Coleman. Coleman, Corum, either one. This is super flex. Then Rattler, etc., etc. On this side, we got the 1 RB, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers, no quarterbacks yet. I'm going to say JD5. I think he's this good. I think he's worth it. This is 1 QB. Brock Bowers, we got, I think we're going to go Thomas here. Go Thomas Jr. here. Thomas Jr. We got Roma Dunze. It's our 3rd wide receiver here. Our 1st tight end. Our 1st quarterback. Probably Coleman. Caleb. And May. Coleman. Corum. Something along those lines. Franklin's right there at the edge. Corley's not going in the first round at all. You're stealing him away. You take Corley. If you take Corley in the first round, I'm gonna take your Bijan card away. Wait until the combine. If he goes and blows the combine up and everybody's, you know, rising him up into the first round, then we'll talk. But Corley does not go anywhere near the first round. Leggett does not go anywhere near the first round. Thomas does. Thomas is going to need to go somewhere between 7 and 10. Even if he has an 8 or 9 or 10 ADP, I'll take him as high as 7. I got him right here. But you do not take Corley, our sleeping giant Corley. You do not take a sleeping giant Leggett in round 1. That's probably it. Did I miss anything? Is anything crazy out of place? Franklin's up there. Worthy's up there. McConkey's up there. Jonathan Brooks is up there for sure. I'd almost say Jonathan Brooks over Corum, to be honest with you. Brooks, Corum. That's my 1 QB mock draft, my Superflex mock draft. And that's taking into account not only what I believe, but also what you'll want to draft against and not make sure you're drafting Corley's too high. My ranking videos will tell you where I have Corley. My mock drafts will tell you where you should probably try and get away with stealing Corley. And Corley's most certainly a second round pick. Now, when I get to 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, I almost don't care about ADP. I almost just grab my guy. And if Corley's my guy and I'm sitting there at 2.4, Legett's my guy, I'm sitting there at 2.4, I'll draft him there. Another guy you're going to see me pump up big time very soon, Frank Gore Jr. Frank Gore Jr., I'd take him at 2.5 to 2.12. His ADP is probably in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't care. I don't really care about ADP once you get past the first like 3 or 4 picks into the 2nd round, because that's where people don't know ADP anyway, and no one else is going to follow it. So you're going to be upset when somebody reaches out of pocket and takes a Frank Gore Jr. and you're like, what in the hell is ADP's like 3.8? No one knows that. These people that you draft with don't research anything past the 1st round. So I find you don't need to go in a direction of using ADP at all once you get past about 2.4. So there you have it. There you have it. Boom, 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 boom. Harrison Jr., Neighbors, Adunze on this left side, 1 QB. Braylon Allen, Bowers could swap them easily by landing spot. JD5's that good to be that high. Thomas Jr., love him. Coleman, Caleb, May, Brooks, Corum. JD5, number 1 in the Superflex. Marvin Harrison Jr., then it's May, Caleb, depending on landing spot. If Caleb goes to Washington with Kingsbury, then I actually really like him at 3. Neighbors, Adunze, Bowers, Penix Jr., Nix, Braylon Allen, J.J. McCarthy, Thomas Jr., Coleman, Corum. There you have it. There you have it. Jalen Wright and Bucky Irving over Frank Gore, maybe. I like Bucky Irving a lot, but I think Frank Gore Jr. could be a steal. I like him a ton. All right, phone calls. Dial on in to discuss the rookie mock draft that your boy just threw on screen. Nobody does content like us. Nobody drops a super flex and a 1 QB mock draft on you at the same time in a, what has it been? A 29-minute span. This channel does. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Let's go. Malik Washington, I like him too. He's good in the 2nd, sure. Corley's good in the 2nd. Yep. Marvin Harrison, big tier break between him and everybody else, like at the end of the day, but landing spot could change that in redraft. I don't think so in Dynasty. In Dynasty, Marvin Harrison Jr. is locked in. I'd almost, if we're going to go back to the tiers, I would say, you know, mini dotted tier break here, potentially to a solid line tier break, depending on landing spots. I almost feel like there's another tier break here. I feel like there's another tier break here with the potential of Coleman to be able to get into this tier based on landing spot. And that's kind of the way I look at it. Tier break between JD5 and Harrison Jr. and Superflex. Obviously, Caleb and May almost give you that other tier break, and these guys have the potential to jump into that first tier if they do very well. Worthy's in the second round. Worthy's really close to like where I would say Worthy, Franklin, Coleman ahead of them, but those guys right behind him. At the end of the day, I like Corley and Leggett more than I like even Coleman, but I'm not going to draft him there because Coleman's going to go in the first round. But Worthy's pretty good. There are a lot of good wide receivers, a lot, but the ones that look best on film, Corley and Leggett. Corley, Leggett, and Thomas are the best three wide receivers after the big three. After Harrison Jr., Neighbors, and Adunze, if you watch the footage and film on these guys, only Leggett, and Thomas Jr. pop like those guys do. Thinking of selling my 1.10. I mean, it depends, man. I mean, I've seen, as of now, and I think this will change with the Great Combine, but I've seen Braylon Allen go at 1.10 every time. You know, and I don't think that'll stay the same. I don't think it'll change, but, whew, you know, Braylon Allen at 10, I'd be licking my chops. I just think he's going to go have an amazing combine, and then we're not going to see him, you know, anywhere near 1.10. But I think he'll still be not too high because these other is a wide receiver draft. Bowers is going high. So, but as you've seen on the Moon Men list, guys, there's a reason these guys are here.
The Moon Men, dropping
Braylon
loads
Allen,
in outer space.
Corley, Adunze, Penix Jr.
Space Monsters.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man,
JD5.
one giant leap for Saturn.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
Bowers.
Mars Men.
There's a reason I'm telling you so far ahead that these guys are Mars men, Moon men, Saturn men, because it's a really strong rookie class, and these are the identified players that are going to explode, and they're hanging with a lot of these other guys. So get ready. And as I've told you all already, if you've watched the video, if you haven't, shame on you. Ranking wise, it's Harrison Jr., Neighbors, Adunze again with Adunze capable of swapping, and then my current 4, 5, and 6 are Brian Thomas Jr., Malachi Corley, and Xavier Leggett. And I don't care what anybody says. They can kick rocks. Those are my top 6 wide receivers. Plain and simple. Do I draft him in round 1? No. Do I draft him in round 1? What do I look like, an idiot? No. Do I draft him in round 1? Probably because he's going to go there. Yeah. What do I look like, a moron? So you got to know your ADPs. You don't know your ADPs, you're screwing around. All right. Hit the phone line.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I have no AR5 emoji on the other channel. I'll work on that. I'll work on adding more to this channel, but we got to get more subscribers. So you guys go to the YouTube homepage of this Dynasty channel. Just by, like, this is an example on the main channel, right? You just, on my Dynasty channel, you're going to see that membership link right there on the desktop. You're going to click that bad boy or join. And then on the Dynasty channel, not the main channel, but on the Dynasty channel on mobile, there's a membership area. Click those, and for $2.99 a month, you can support the channel, become a baller, get a green name, and on this Dynasty channel and the main channel. And that opens up more emojis the more people we have it. How did the fast end? If it ended at 50 hours, but I lost 8 pounds. I'm still up, down like 7 something. I'm walking 12 to 15,000 steps per day. So, and running about 2 or 3 miles of that. It's about 7 miles, 7+ miles. So I'm going to keep it off. And if I gain a little bit back, I'm going to be fit though. You know, like I'm doing it, thinning down and then doing it right. It's kind of like tearing down a house to the cement slab, making sure the slab is firm and the integrity is great, and then building the house back up on the strong, non-cracked foundation. What's up, Marsman Rock Out?
What's up? So what rookie you think could skyrocket from your projections with a good combine performance?
Braylon Allen, which is why he's so highly ranked here. And again, this is a happy medium of where I'm willing to reach and where I think you can't reach. Like Braylon Allen's going around 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is probably a little off. You know, maybe you relax a little bit and let him slip a little bit if you're doing some sort of early draft. However, I do think Allen's going to climb to the 4, 5, 6, 7 territory easily. Because I think he's going to go and just dominate everybody. And Jonathan Brooks, while he's thought to be the number 1 running back without the ACL tear, people view him that way, but he should be ready by camp or a little later, but that's not enough to draft him necessarily. I think Allen's going to go smash the bench press, impress everybody with all of his drills, and just look fantastic. And he's going to climb.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Kenobi says Legette's DK. Of course he is. And no offense, Kenobi, but I don't need you to tell me that because I told you that. Go watch my video, bro. There's a reason he's higher on my rankings than anybody's rankings you'll find, Kenobi. Nobody is dropping that as early as I did with the rankings and as bold as I did. Nobody's got Legette and Corley. They're 5 and 6. No one. He's a combination of DK meets God, I don't even know what, like Mike Evans. Like Mike Evans. I'm just messing with you, Kenobi, but go watch it cuz yes, you're telling me he's DK, and I've already said, like, you're telling me, so I'm just messing with you, but I've already said it over and over. Scuba Steve's calling. We haven't had Scuba Steve calling in a while. Kenobi, you can call in too, pal. We can relish over our future Legette shares. We got Scuba Steve on the phone. Oh, I'm sorry, Scuba. Wait 1 second. Rock Out. Wait 1 second. Or Travis, wait 1 second. Scuba, wait 1 second. Let me go to Rock Out again real quick. Rock Out. I'm just gonna say right here, bro. Looking at this, I think JD5 is going to skyrocket. I think Bowers is already really high, but he's going to move up a lot. Keenan Allen's going to skyrocket. Let's see here. And then my sleepers, Brian Thomas, Corley, and Legette will skyrocket. Frank Gore could skyrocket. Bucky Irving could, but I don't think he'll skyrocket. I think he could just improve his value. Dunze could be some. Let me put it this way. You know how Gibbs was in the 11th hour became higher ranked than Bijan to some teams, and everyone thought it was kind of nuts. And you know, we knew it was capable, right? We like Bijan more, but we understand it. We love it. We love them both equally in some sense. I think Dunze could climb to the number 1 wide receiver spot on some teams' boards. Maybe not a majority, but like. You'll hear some of the reports of Dunze's number 1 on a few clubs' boards at the wide receiver position. So he could skyrocket. But Allen, Dunze, JD5, and Allen, Dunze, JD5, Corley, and Legette, and Thomas. Those are my guys that are going to skyrocket due to Combine and Pro Days, baby.
Yeah, one of them probably going to the Giants unless they want to go QB.
Chris says you take JD5 over Caleb, even if JD's in New England. Well, I got Caleb 4, bro. And that's in Chicago. So JD5 in New England or JD5 in Washington, either one has him my number 1 overall Dynasty Superflex player. I hate Caleb in Chicago. I hate him in Chicago. The only way Caleb, and as you see this arrow from Caleb up to 1 or 2, if Caleb goes to Washington, he could be my number 1 or number 2. I hate him in Chicago. I think he's going to fail in Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. No.
Did I say Keenan Allen instead of Braylon Allen? Whatever.
It's Allen.
I'm moving so fast, you know. Scuba Steve, you're live, pal.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on, man?
What's up? What's up, pal?
For you.
Yeah, hit me with
Hey,
it.
Dynasty question. So with the news that, the Chargers, Raiders, and Giants, that they're not going to be bringing back their quarterbacks and the Tennessee Titans. How do you rank those landing spots for like some of these running backs in the draft?
You mean running backs? You think you said quarterbacks?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say running backs because what's that?
Scuba, you really haven't been here like for a long time, have you? Because we go over this like every show. And I don't mind going over it. I don't mind going over it again, but like we talk about these landing spots like 8 times a show, every single show. So
well,
I guess.
I'm just gonna what would be because you been ranking these prospects. Which prospect you want? You feel like would be good for their value and like you don't want to see like that quarterback, that running back.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess I haven't attacked that as much, but okay. So Dallas would be the best place for like Braylon Allen. Dallas or Baltimore or Houston. I mean, these 4 landing spots, no matter what, are just the best landing spots. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like if one of the rookies goes to LAC, Houston, Dallas, or Baltimore, and we do think Corum most likely could go to the Chargers because we think look, Harbaugh loves him, and he'll be able to get him in the second round if he reaches, and it could happen. So if he goes there, that's a good spot for him. I don't love Corum anywhere else too much. I like him. I think if he goes somewhere where he's going to get fed and he's in a good system, the Chargers will make him solid. He'll be really solid there. But I don't love him in general anywhere else. I think Houston, Dallas, and Baltimore are still the very best landing spots out there, period. And so if it's Braylon Allen or it's Barkley or it's Henry or it's Jacobs or it's Eckler, then those situations are phenomenal. And I think Braylon Allen and maybe a Corum, maybe a potential Benson. And Benson's another guy. To be honest with you, if we go back, I told you I was going to waiver it and mess around with this thing live. I could almost put Benson over Corum. In fact, I will. Trade Benson. I'm going to put him over Corum. I'm going to put him at like 11, 12. I'll put Benson there. I like Benson more. So Benson. Yeah. I think I like that more. So if Trey Benson goes to like one of those situations, he'll be great. But I think the only player that could possibly land, in my opinion, in Dallas or Baltimore would be Braylon Allen as a rookie. Why? Because they're looking for a workhorse between the tackles monster. They don't want the Baltimore, even though Keaton Mitchell he tore his ACL and he's coming back from that injury. He's already, he's already one of the quick, speedy guys. They don't need that. They want a bruising back, a guy that's like the build of almost Derrick Henry, and that's Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen's a monster. So he reminds me a lot of like Josh Jacobs meets Brandon Jacobs meets Derrick Henry. Like that's kind of how he plays. And if Dallas takes him or Baltimore takes him, he's to the moon. To the freaking moon. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Because you know how some of these guys are going to go somewhere that needs a running back, like the veterans, and you would think that whoever out of those teams that are left, there is going to be like somebody that is going to pick one of these guys up.
That's true. If that's what you meant, I'm sorry. I don't think I've covered that as much.
No, that's all right, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Philly would be a good spot maybe for Braylon Allen too, or for Bucky Irving, or for Trey Benson. Bengals would be a good location, but I think Eckler goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. I really do, because they were this close. They were this close. Just almost pulled off a trade, according on good authority from like 2 or 3 different sources I trust immensely. And he wanted to go there very badly. So I have a feeling there'll still be mutual interest now that Eckler is freed to go wherever he wants. And boy, if Eckler goes there, that's not bad. You could get another good like 3/4 of a year out of him. Maybe he misses 3 or 4 times though. Buffalo would be an interesting landing spot, but they've ruined players. I almost want to say we want Buffalo to be better than they are for running backs. We want it. Everybody thinks the offense is amazing. So many touchdown opportunities, right? But look at Zach Moss. Does nothing there. Goes to Indy, looks like a magician. You know, you look at Singletary, very, very mediocre at best. He goes to Houston and becomes a little monster. So is Buffalo really that good? They don't even commit to their RB. If they drafted a Braylon Allen, maybe they would commit to him. But I'd almost say I don't want to take the chance. Give me Philly, give me Cincy, give me obviously the other 4: Dallas, Baltimore, Houston, and LAC. Give me those teams.
All right. And
yeah, but no, it's a good question.
Do you think that Denver is going to be one of those teams too that nobody's talking about that might draft a running back?
I hope not, bro. I hope not.
Just based off of like injury thing.
I hope not, because Javonte Williams he was fine. He was way ahead of schedule. He was good to go. He looked really quick. Like when I watched, I don't know about you guys, but when I watched Javonte Williams, I'm like, yeah, he looks good. He just continues to running back by committee. Not 2 running backs, 3 running backs. We'll run 3 running backs. Well, Denver feels like a trash can. I'll be honest with you. I think Denver's going to suck. I think Denver's going to be trash. Why? Because I don't know that Sean Payton knows what he's doing anymore. I know he didn't necessarily want Russell Wilson, right? But this is a debacle that they're dealing with, and it's going to be a huge cap hindrance for 2 straight years. And Sean Payton not relying on one RB and doing this stupid platoon, and for the Denver Broncos to illegally ask Russell Wilson to revoke his injury clause after 9 weeks of play and saying we're going to bench you after 9 weeks, even though he got in a groove. He was being called the Russell Wilson of old. He was driving the team, playing well, driving down the field, and he got called into his coach's office, Sean Payton's office, and they said, we're going to put you on the bench unless you revoke your injury clause, because we don't want you going from week 9 on or week 10 on and getting hurt and then us having to pay that injury clause. He said no. He got the NFLPA involved. They got potential, I think, attorneys involved. And the NFL then stepped in and said, this is illegal. You can't do that. You can't do that. And so then Sean Payton called Russell Wilson back into his office and said, you know what? Forget we ever had that conversation. You got a game to win. Go out there and win. This is a circus going on in Denver. That's a absolute debacle, absolute embarrassment to ask your quarterback to take away his injury clause and then ask him to go out there and play. And if not, you're going to bench him. It's illegal. Not to mention, they should be fined. They should have a draft pick taken away. You should take away their first-round draft pick for that garbage. It should. That's as bad as potentially trying to throw a game. Telling your quarterback who's winning, he's your clear starter, that you're going to bench him and take a dive on purpose to avoid paying money is as bad as a coach like allegedly getting money, like the Miami situation, the Cleveland Browns situation, whatever. Like those situations, it's as bad as those alleged situations. They should revoke their draft pick for trying to do something completely illegal that had attorneys, the NFLPA, and the NFL have to step in. And that, to me, makes the Denver Broncos garbage. They're going to have a garbage season because they're now going to cut Russell Wilson, which is going to be, if they cut him, make him a June 1st, post-June cut designation, it'll hit the cap about $30+ million this year and $50+ the next year. It's ridiculous. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. I mean, I completely agree with you. It's just that because I don't really know what they're doing. I don't know if because with this platoon thing, what they're going to do. If they're like one of those teams that just decides that they they're just going to come out of nowhere. They're going to trap an RB and make it more of a headache than it really needs to be, because it is, like you said, they had all the pieces around there. It just seems like Sean Payton just wants to bring in his own guys and everything, whether it's going to be a running back or potentially at wide receiver too. I don't know, like some of these guys that you might like. Maybe if he goes over there, I mean, everybody thought that Marvin Mims was going to be good, and he probably used them for like a couple weeks, and then he was never even like used again.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton might have lost it, man. I don't know. I'm not saying he's absolutely going to fail some total, but this year at least, I don't think you can piecemeal together a dominant team when you're tearing it the same year you're tearing it down, especially with the cap hindrance that they're going to have for 2 years. I don't know, bro. I think it's ridiculous. I think the Broncos are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL for the next two seasons, maybe more. And I think Sean Payton gets fired at some point. I think Sean Payton reminds me a lot of Bill Belichick. There's a lot of buzz to his name, but I don't know how much is really there, how much substance is really there anymore. You know, it's not like it's been a while, you know, that we've seen the Sean Payton that everybody thinks is amazing. Sean Payton, who's he going to get at quarterback? Does he trade for Fields? Maybe he's aggressive enough to do that. I'll alter my take a little bit if they bring in a potential top 6-7 quarterback, but I still think that they'll fail him because look what they're doing. Look what they did to Russell Wilson. They should have their draft pick taken away. That is garbage. Even though they didn't do it, they tried. They pressured Russell Wilson. He had to go to the NFLPA and have him look into it. And then the NFL's like, it's illegal. You can't do that. You can't tell a player. That's like extortion. It's insane. It just tells me how dumb they are. How dumb Sean Payton really is at the end of the day. And everybody that was involved in that decision. I would have raised a red flag to be the quality assurance person that the abilities and to see those things, and I would 100% be like, whoa, guys, we may need to look in this. I don't know for sure, but this doesn't feel like you can do this. What are we doing? You can't ask Russell Wilson. You can't tell him you're going to bench him and we're going to ruin the integrity of the team and our ability to win fairly. And we're taking essentially a dive if he doesn't remove and give us the chance to have more money. We're absolutely like trying to trap this man. Like this is it's crazy to me. A lot of people think, Peyton might like McCarthy. I don't. Look, McCarthy goes there. It feels like, Caleb going to Chicago. I think if McCarthy goes to Denver, say goodbye, because the way they're operating there, I don't know, and how much cat. I don't like it. Let's go over to Travis Rowe real quick. Travis.
Hey, with Sean Payton, it all depends on if he can get a quarterback in there that works. If not, he'll be gone within 2 years, I think, at the most.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to last.
Yeah, I mean, if he drafts someone, they probably give him a chance to, this year and then maybe next if it's not a complete disaster. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith. But I was calling in just to ask you in terms of drafting. I know we haven't gone over tight end yet, but where would you put Ja'Tavion Sanders? I know I've mentioned him a few times to you.
Yeah.
In Dynasty draft.
I'd have to say I probably put him around. Ian, tell everybody, please. I'd have to say I put him around. God, that's tough. I'd say anywhere in the middle of the late second round, middle of the second round. Like I said, I'm not one of those people that worries too much about reaching for your guy. Once you get into the mid second round, so if he's your guy, just take him, bro. Take him anywhere in round 2 and don't even hesitate. But try, and if you've got like another pick coming up, then of course I would try my best to get the best of all worlds. But if you're like picking at 2.8 and you don't pick again until 4.1, just take him. You know, if that's your guy, don't let an ADP, because again, for anybody that's saying, wait a minute, Smitty, that's not smart. You always say not to reach and do all this, but at the end of the day, if you get into the mid-second round, nobody knows ADP anymore, and people are reaching all over the place because they just don't have a clue. They could go off the pre-rank list, but you'll find people need a position and they'll reach and they won't follow the ADP as closely. I don't know. I would be afraid that someone's going to draft Leggett at 2.8. I'm drafting at 2.4. If I think I'm getting him at 3.1 and I got another pick, I'll just take him. Corley, I'm not going to let Corley slide to round 3. And for anybody that thinks they're going to get these guys later at the current asking price, they're not. Because if Corley goes out and crushes the combine, if Leggett goes out there and crushes the combine, if Brian Thomas Jr. goes out and crushes the combine, if Braylon Allen goes out and crushes the combine, none of these guys are going at their current ADP. So that's why I told whoever was it that called in yesterday and said, what about trading down and all that? Like even NFL draft or in fantasy, you don't want to trade down to get JD5 because you feel like the value's there, right? Why don't I just trade down and take JD5 at 2 or 3 versus 1 in a super flex? Because you don't know that he's not going to be everyone's number 1 in fantasy. In fact, I predict he will be the consensus number 1 overall super flex fantasy football dynasty player in a rookie only draft by the end of the pro days. You know, if not just the combine talk, even though he's not going to be participating, you know, at the combine really. Just the combine talk and everybody hyping him up, you're going to see JD5 climb up. And if you trade down thinking you're going to get him at 2 or 3, you're going to be sadly mistaken.
Right. Yeah. So Sanders he's pretty clearly the number 2 tight end, or
yeah, probably. I mean, maybe we'll see a little different, you know, something a little different after the combine, but I would say, you know, I think Nesbitt and was it Theo Johnson? Those guys all feel like a little bit far away.
Yeah.
I think it's Bowers and maybe Sanders, and for me I'm not saying these guys can't do something, but like there's Bell, there's Johnson, those guys are.
I was gonna say Bell, Senate.
Yeah.
Stover. There's a few guys, but.
All right, hold on one second.
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
JFAR is on, but go ahead real quick, and then I'll go to JFAR.
Just a quick one. Not really. Kind of a deeper question is, do you see Jordan Travis is ever doing anything in the NFL? I know he was pretty good before he got hurt. The QB from Florida State.
Maybe. I mean, right now I don't feel like it. No.
I just know he was pretty good before he broke his leg, and then he just kind of went up into the air. So I guess it's just a wait and see because of the injury.
Yeah. JFAR, you're live.
Finally, I got to give someone talking about the problems that this coach in Denver has done. Disaster.
Yeah. It upsets me.
You know, he had to check and balances in New Orleans with Mickey Loomis calling the shots. Now he's in Denver. He's the one calling the shots. He knew he was going to get Russell Wilson, and he botched all of it. In that division, you're right. I think he's going to get fired in 3 years. And they had, you know, in the middle of the season, even after, you know, week 9 and this whole story happened, the offense was pretty well. Cortland Sutton, they were getting some action. And how did he derail that team? Disaster.
I think he doesn't know what he's doing. And again, I don't care about his past. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, people drop off all the time. You know, just like players drop off, coaches drop off too. You know, there's a drop-off point. At some point, somebody needs to step away. Bill Belichick feels like he doesn't have a handle on some of the things maybe he could have, or maybe didn't have to have a handle on, or he had the right support. You know, like Andy Reid, I feel like is way more of a better. I think he's a better coach. I don't care about the records or what will go down in the history books. I think Andy Reid's a better coach than Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick got really lucky, and he was really good with Tom Brady. He was really good with every piece that he had in place, for sure. I'm not saying that Brady and Belichick weren't one of the best duos, or aren't the best duo to ever play together, coach and quarterback. I'm not trying to argue that. I'm giving it respect. Just like you can't separate LaDainian Tomlinson from the Chargers offense, just like you can't take Priest Holmes out of the most potent KC attack in terms of a run we'll ever see. I mean, KC, if they gave the ball to Priest Holmes at the 10-yard line or even 15-yard line, they'd do like a sweep, and he'd literally go untouched in the end zone from 15 yards out over and over and over and over again. You can't separate Priest Holmes from that KC offense. It is what it is. So Bill Belichick will go down, and should, as maybe the best head coach ever or one of the best head coaches ever. But at the end of the day, I think he's way more one-dimensional when you take away his secret weapon, which was Tom Brady. Now, if you took Mahomes away from Andy Reid, how would he fare now? Probably as he's starting to get older, he'd probably do some of the similar things. He'd fall off a little bit. Maybe he wouldn't recapture it. I don't know. I just think that Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, I feel they're very similar in terms of we're just giving them too much credit because we've seen them do it before. Like, Sean Payton has crapped the bed. And I'm telling you, I don't know why no one's putting up a fuss about them losing a draft pick. The Broncos should lose a draft pick. Maybe there's nothing policy-wise or set up in the rules to actually, like, govern that, and maybe they need to put it in. But that should be absolutely never it should never happen again, or a draft pick should be taken away, because that's absolute garbage. And Zach with the super chat. Zach, appreciate you. Zach says, is Devontae and London too much for Achane? Probably in fair market value terms, maybe. Especially in Dynasty with wide receiver values being more than running back values and shelf lives and everything. So I would say yes. Would I give up one of them with a second rounder or something? Sure. But it is Achane in the second round and Devontae Smith in like the top of 3. So there's a little bit of a difference, but not a big gap, not a huge gap in Dynasty. And London could climb above both of them, So I would say that's too much. Thank you, Zach. Would I do one of them? Maybe, yeah. Even then, I'd hesitate because I love London and Devontae Smith so much. But I love Achane a little bit more than one of them, but both of them, no. Anything else, J4?
I just wanted to ask you, adjust and adapt. What do we do with Javonte Williams? In Dynasty,
don't write him off, like cut him or anything, but don't expect anything. I hope to God they see the light and they run the man. But I have zero expectation. Zero. It sucks. It is what it is. Look, he got ruined. Absolutely ruined. Who would have thought? Who would have thought he would have got a worse coach? What?
This year coming up was supposed to be Javonte Williams, improvement year 2 off the ACL, but I just don't think the coach and the way the offense is being run, he's going to be able to hold up.
I don't know about hold up is the right word. I would just say I don't know that he's going to be leaned upon. They ran 3 RBs. It seems so. The future seems so bright for him walking into the season because they're like, man, this guy's on a record. He looks unbelievable. He's on some sort of record recovery rate. He passed Breece Hall in terms of how fast he was recovering, and he had a more severe knee injury than Breece Hall. So it was crazy. And it felt like everything was lining up. And Sean Payton would talk him up big time. It was unreal. And then just have it go in a totally different direction felt like the rug being pulled out from under you. And there's no sign at all, in my opinion, no sign at all that anything's going to change. And so I would just say, like, don't cut him. Would I take him for like a third rounder? Oh, absolutely. Like, would I still acquire him at maybe even late second round value? Like, maybe. Depends who you think who could fall. Like, if you're getting Corley instead, I'd rather have Corley. If you could get a potential Trey Benson instead, I'd rather have that. So, like, I mean, be careful not to just give up high second-round picks or mid-second-round picks. But I would say that, you know, third rounders, I'd throw them all day long at him and just hope that he, you know, got a shot. Because who knows? Maybe they trade him or something. You know, we've seen that happen before. It's possible, but I just think that, like, we're not going to see what we wanted to see out of it, and it sucks. It really does. You know, a couple other guys that come to mind that I thought would be great players that never even got a shot. Remember Lee Suggs for the Chicago or the Cleveland Browns. Then he had like a spinal issue, and he was going to be so amazing. Greg Hill for the Detroit Lions. Some of these are old school names. You know, there are a lot of players that should have been good that never were. You know, Charles Rogers, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. God, he could have been like the top 4 wide receiver for a decade. You know, guys like that, man. You know, you think about it. Who was that guy for Beanie Wells? Beanie Wells was supposed to be so good for the Cardinals, and God, it's crazy how there's certain players the right thing doesn't go. It's such a game of luck. You know, the situation. I mean, look at Kurt Warner. He almost never was. Look at Tom Brady. He almost never was. Look at Beanie Wells. Should have been, never was. Crazy.
Yeah, situation matters so much.
Yep. All right, J4. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah. Scuba Steve, any final thoughts? Hello, Scuba.
You're on mute, brah.
Scuba. Scuba. He might have fell asleep. Marsman, rock out. Final thoughts.
Yeah, what's your feeling on Ray Davis?
Not too sure. I mean, good size.
Yeah, big.
I don't know where I even have him ranked. I have him ranked pretty low. Not that he couldn't climb combine, you know, and everything. It would depend on the combine. Because what really matters is, I think he's like around 8, 9, 10, 11. You know, like Marshawn Lloyd, I like more. Bucky Irving, I like more. Frank Gore Jr., I like more. But in the right spot, he could be good. But combine will. The problem with the values, like if they're so lowly ranked, they're not going to go until the very end of the draft, and then that commitment level by those teams is very, very thin. And so the odds of 5th or 6th round rookie running back rising up and attaining a starting job for a very long time is very rare. So it puts them in a negative trajectory. But landing spot would change it all, man.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, rock out. Keep an eye out for my rookie running back video coming up.
I appreciate it.
Later. Travis. Final thoughts.
Yeah. So, my running backs in Dynasty are Bijan H. Javonte, and James Cook, and Keaton Mitchell when he's hurt. So with Javonte, it's just kind of, is it wait and see, or would you, if I could find someone to sell him to? I mean, I don't think I will because his value's low, but
yeah,
just kind of wait and see.
There's nothing you're gonna get, man, for Javonte. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I would try, I guess, but like, I just don't know that you're gonna get anything.
Yeah, it's too bad too because I like that combo of Bijan and Javonte, but I'll probably have to trade some of my wide receivers to get better running backs. So, all right, appreciate it, Smitty.
Yeah, man, appreciate you, and I'm not sure if we're gonna go on Rumble. We haven't gone on Rumble in so long. I almost feel like we kind of got to.
Do a quick one.
Yeah, it might be just kind of a recap of the news today, which we hit it from a little bit different
Rumble
angle. So
recap.
I don't know that it'll be like too much of beating a dead horse. I just think Rumble, we need something. And is everybody cool going over to Rumble real quick? Let's go to Rumble for like 15 minutes for a news show, if anybody can make it.
All right, I'll see you over
All right,
there.
yeah, you can call in there for a minute too if you want. All right, thanks, Travis. Later. Thanks for moderating, man.
Bye.
Later. Rumble is links in the description of this video. It's rumble.com/the fantasy football show. We'll go over to Rumble and appreciate the super chats. Thank you, Zach, for dropping that. Thank you for everybody who grabbed a membership if you did, and continue to grab your memberships on this Dynasty channel so that we can get more emojis. You get a green name. Again, to find the memberships, all you got to do is go to, this is an example on my main YouTube channel. So just go to on the Dynasty channel here, go to the main Dynasty channel, main page, and then you're just going to click memberships on the Dynasty channel, or click the join button, or on mobile, you're going to hit memberships on the little navigation. So do that, do it live, do it well, do it fast. Appreciate you. And we'll be going on Rumble in T-minus 2-3 minutes. See you all later.